The west branch of the Neversink. Okay. The confluence is just below here. There's a bridge on the east branch and a bridge on the west branch, and then it flows into the main stem. It was a demonstration project, really, to demonstrate both the practices and the partnerships needed to pull something like this off, and it did meet its goals in that way. So it's a habitat restoration project for the landowner, because the landowner rents out this area for fishing. So for them it was that. For the town it was protection for the road and the county. For the bridge guys at the county, they had put that bridge in just a little while ago, and they had wanted to align the stream the way it is now, but they weren't given the permit. And I'm sure it was because they really weren't kind of going to that next step and showing the benefits of that, and that's because they weren't doing the bank restoration. So with all of the biological advantages of moving, the permitters were happier to do that. So that's another partnership. So showing the the best practices for how to do this was a big motivation. And then just gearing our staff up to understand what's involved, working with engineers, working with the regulatory agencies and the funder, and just putting the whole thing together as a group. The environmental benefits are so obvious, for the road salts and all of the benefits of putting a filter in between the road and the stream, that part is just logic. Yeah, this is a pretty massive project. So from the tree line to the bridge, the entire stream was recreated.
So, the willows that are very green still down there, that was like a little thin island, and some of the flow was going on this side like it is now, but most of the flow was going on the other side of that willow line up against the road. And that was a little bit of willow that was here before we did any of the project, and we kept that, and we brought the bank out to that point, which meant that we had to shave a little bit off of the forest on this side and totally, like Karen's saying, totally change the center line of the stream so that it wasn't quite going so wide there. So it's a little bit more gentle curve coming into the bridge, and this had to be raised to a high enough level so that when the stream is flooding, it's actually flooding that forest on the inside of this big wide turn here, as opposed to flooding out here. And you can see that this is the same treatment that we saw over at the earlier site, with the coir blocks with the willows in between them. And this in here, though, it's all on top of root wads that we've placed. We've put them back into the bank here, and then ballast on top of that of the very large rocks to hold down so they don't float away. And these are being pushed by the flow during flood flows. They're being pushed sort of this way into the bank, and it's all of that root mass and that complexity of the roots all creates turbulent flow, which slows the water down right next to the bank and makes it less erosive, so that the stronger forces are out in the center. And at this location, the deepest part of the channel is out there in the middle of the channel.
So every root ball that you see that's sticking out, the whole stem of the tree is underneath us, going back like 10, 20 feet, however long we could have gotten them. So underneath us is a structure with stone and those trees that's made out of stone and trees, and then on top of that we built our blocks and planted. And you'll see see how these are smaller than the ones that we saw at the last site? They're just sprouting from the horizontal whips that we put in. They're just not as big because it's only a couple years. This is something also, there was a demonstration of a specific tool that we created custom for this project. That was another reason that we were working here at this location. So this is called riprap. It's placed rock over geotextile fabric to stabilize the stream. It's a very typical highway practice in constructing bridges and roads, and also repairing roads. So we wanted to see if we could come up with some kind of mechanism for adding vegetation to this practice, which we see all up and down the river and all through the Northeast. So these posts that you see that are branching with willow vegetation were actually, I don't know how you want to call them. Like, what's the mechanism for? Yeah, they basically, we need to make holes. So Brendan and the contractor we had a design for a tool.
It's like this big long spike on the end of it.
We can show you video of it working. And the idea was to go to a place that's already been done like this, which is not the first choice for habitat and water quality, and see if you can retrofit a bank like this with vegetation by using this tool. So they created the thing. It goes on the end of an excavator bucket, and it pierces a hole there, and then the planters, who are us, we take a bucket of soil and we put the soil in the hole, and then we put this post, which is a willow material that's been soaked and harvested here and soaked into the hole, and hope that it grows. And it is. So the tool works and the plants grow. It's not the same as the kind of structure we can make with the soil lifts, because that's very, it's mimicking nature more, but this is a way to go back in an area that's been modified this way and try to get some vegetation going. The roots, as long as they're reaching the level of water, they'll grow. And the Highway Department gave us permission, which was really generous of them, because their specifications for something like this require this geotextile fabric underneath that is not meant to be pierced, but they let us do that because it was part of the test.
Vegetation treatments like we have at the edge of the stream are the weakest the day that they go in, and over time they get stronger and stronger and stronger as the root system develops and really penetrates the soil and fills the soil and holds it against erosive forces of the stream. So this is a way of trying to get the value of vegetation added to the rock treatments.